When you're cutting stock, the most important thing is to have a straight surface, and you want to look along an edge until you get a nice clean straight surface, or you need a surface planer to give you a clean surface. And the second thing you need is you need to make sure that your table saw and the blade are at absolutely 90 degrees, so you get again a 90-degree cut. The next thing to do is to double check and triple check and have a cut list that shows all the cut pieces, the lengths and the sizes. This is most important because you're doing all the rough work now and you don't want to come back when you're doing clean work and have to cut bulk stock again. Set the thickness on your saw slightly bigger than you need. You may get some variations in the way you push it through, and you're going to clean that up on the thickness sander afterwards. So having cut one side, we're now going to cut the actual pieces. And we double check the measurement. 5.6, 5.8, 5.7, 5.9. So that again explains part of the challenge. I've just ripped the mast, which is 10 by 10 millimeters, and now we're going to put it in the thickness sander to bring it down to 9.89 millimeters. I use this Proxon table to do all my rough work, and I do the bonds or the preac to do the fine work. Just a quick word on the Proxon table saw. It allows you to do angular cuts. It has an adjustable speed, which I hardly ever use. It has an arm that allows you to slide out to hold wider pieces, which is very useful. And it comes with a carbon tip blade, which is ideal for cutting rough stock because it doesn't bend at all. Perhaps the only weakness of this table saw is the slide table here, which is not very accurate, and you can have a lot of challenges when trying to adjust to get some fine tolerances. This is an old thickness sander that I got many years ago from Charlie Files. It works pretty good, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy with it. I've taken the cover off to show you what's underneath the sander. It's just a sanding drum and a movable feeder plate, and you have an adjustment on the side here, and you simply turn that up and down, which will change the distance between the feeder plate and the drum. You do need to be very careful. It can eat into this stuff, so you need to make sure it's pushed hard against the feeder plate so that the sanding is even right throughout. you might remember from school that if you want to find out the length of this line, it's the square of this plus the square of that, and you find the square root of that number, and that will give you this dimension here, which in fact is the diameter, the minimum diameter. So when you're cutting square stock, you have to make sure that it's square enough that will give you the diameter. I'm telling you this because I spent hours using dowels to make spars or to make masts, only to find out when I came to cut the square was too small, and it was hours and hours of work. So for each of the dimensions that we're going to skirt, we need to determine what that line is, and once you do that, then that's the size of square that you cut out for your stock, because you can always take the square down, but you can't make it larger. We now have all the parts cut, and so we can start working in the same way that we did the first lower mast to work on all the other steps of the mast fitting.